Why will you be best served by giving first as an entrepreneur? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome. Okay, here's the question. How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph? Come on. Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it up. What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my dark horse friends and family? Welcome back to your weekly dose of giving in order to win learning. I'm your dark horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and you, well, that, my friend, is infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur or one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And man, do we have a big episode for you today. Today, Tom Antion shares so many amazing entrepreneurial bombs from his 25 plus years of business experience. And yeah, the bulk of that has actually been on the commercial internet. He went from hustling in college and getting 4 apartment buildings and a hotel, to biker bars, to pranksters, to TV programs. You are not going to miss a moment of this amazing episode. Plus, a little later, I'm going to let you in on next week's interview guest, who's a professional speaker, trainer, coach, an Ironman triathlete that has coached thousands of people to get to 5 figures a month in less than 6 months. And as per usual, the Dark Horse Corrals are chock full of personal, business, and marketing GOLD spilling from every corner of the Dark Horse Entrepreneur HQ. So let's get to the starting gates and go. Alrighty, my Dark Horse friends and family. Today's guest is Tom Antion. Now, I connected with Tom back in my comeuppance days when I was first starting my speaking and coaching career. It all started with his book, Wake 'em Up Business Presentations. It was a book all about using humor and other professional techniques to give better business presentations. Now, this was followed shortly after with his cassette tape course on teleseminars for speakers, and I know I just dated myself. Now, Tom has been in the game for a while, as you can tell. Actually, if I'm honest with you, Tom has never had a job. He's one of those internet millionaire next guy next door type of guys. He's also the founder of the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country. I'm sure we'll get him to share a bit about that. And if that wasn't enough to get him on the show alone, he's also the subject of the Hollywood documentary from Real Mountain Pictures called The American Entrepreneur, premiering next month, April of 2021. So we're looking forward to seeing that. And last but certainly not least, Tom is also the host of the Screw the Commute podcast. Tom, you got your fingers on a lot of pies, man. Welcome to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur.
Well, that's the thing there, Tracy, when you're not in the car a couple hours a day making somebody else rich, you can live 2 or 3 lives
at the same time, right? Yeah. I remember, and I know I was on your show not too long ago, actually just the other day, and we were talking about your opinions on corporate America. But before we go into anything, I want to, really just step back from the mic and let you tell your story. Where has Tom come from? Where is he at now? And why you like doing what you do so much?
Well, I came from a little town. 500 people was our population, still to this day, I might add. And we lived in the suburbs. So I was totally in the sticks out there. And I came up through the ranks, baby of 6 boys. My dad came from Syria on a cattle boat. That's what they're kind of doing the documentary about, because he became an entrepreneur, made me into an entrepreneur, and I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs. So that's what the documentary is about. But then I went to college on a football scholarship. This was back before they had face masks, the leather helmets is crazy like so yeah. And then I didn't really have any money, but before I graduated from college, I owned 5 apartment buildings and a hotel. And so starting with nothing, which was a good lesson for people. I've done a lot of these shows, and it boils down to I learned to give before I get.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I ended up with a hotel while I still was in college. So
Nice.
there's a whole story behind that. But then I just got into lots of things. I was a charter pilot, a freelance charter pilot. Then I had the bright idea to take over a biker bar and clean it up into a nice family restaurant and nightclub. And I was in gunfights, knife fights, over 100 violent encounters, bikers trying to kill me. So,
I have visions of Roadhouse in my head right now.
well,
right?
yeah, kind of like that. And then when I got out of that alive, I started an entertainment company. I thought, you know what? Not one person's going to hit me on the head with a beer bottle with this next business. And so I started a crazy entertainment company called Prank Masters. We custom designed practical jokes, just like Candid Camera, but it was live. I did 1,000 comic performances myself, and we did 4,000 in about 6 years up in DC area. And it got me into my speaking career around 1991. And then about 94, the commercial internet was coming along. And I'm thinking, man, it was hard enough to sell those darn cassette tapes across the street, let alone sell them around the world. So I said, I'm going to figure this out. So from 94 to 96, the commercial internet started in 94. That's when I started selling. And I didn't make much between 94 and 96. Then I got good training from a guy named Corey Rudel. He was kind of the 31-year-old grandfather of internet marketing. Mm-hmm. And he was making like $5 million a year from his apartment. So I took training with him. Then I started making money immediately. And by 4 years later, I was a multimillionaire and enjoy it to this day. So it kept my speaking career going, but I started selling my own stuff on the internet. And then people started begging me to teach them. And, coming from a comic background, people started begging me to do a boot camp. Okay. And I said, I can't do it. Everybody does boot camps. Well, I don't want to do that. I said, I'm sitting here making all this money sitting on my rear end. I'll call it butt camp.
But
and it caught on. I've done them in 11 countries around the world. It's the longest continuously running internet seminar in the world. And but in London, they made me call it bum camp. So then I just been doing this. I started the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center, where I'm broadcasting from today. It's the largest, it's the only facility of its kind in the world, where people actually come in from all over the world and live in the house with me for an immersion weekend. Mm-hmm. I have the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country. So yeah, I get around a little bit.
Yeah, you got a lot of things going on. I want to dig in that school you got going on. I know I got to hear a bit about it when I was on your show, but educate me a bit about more on that, because I know it's a part accredited in the whole 9 yards, right?
Well, it's licensed by the state of Virginia, the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. And the reason I did it is because I also have a TV show in development called Scam Brigade, because being in this business, you see so many people getting robbed blind. And I can't, like I said, I grew up with my dad. You take care of people. You're strong. If you see somebody hurt, you do something about it. That was the way it was.
Right.
So I started this show to go after the scammers. And I thought, I can't go after all of them. And I got to set myself apart in my own business. So I said, I'm going to go through this licensing process. It took me 3 years, background checks, financial checks, criminal, everything, background stuff on all the employees, everything. And so I'm the only one on earth that's ever gone through that kind of crazy scrutiny to get, because somebody will say, oh, I got so-and-so university. They're just making it up out of thin air.
Right.
They don't have a university.
Yeah.
So this is a legitimate distance learning school.
That's awesome. So they didn't find out all that stuff you didn't want them to know about, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know she was 13. How was I supposed to know?
So one of the topics I wanted to go through with you, I was kind of cruising through your podcast, and you've been doing that Screw the Commute podcast for like almost 3 years now, 2018.
420 episodes.
You've been at it for a while, and one of the episodes that really caught my eye was the life experiences to side hustles. I'm a big fan of folks Yeah, I don't want to use the whole, do something you're passionate about and the money will follow. That's not always the case.
Right.
But I do believe in the fact that if you're going after something that you're passionate about, when you hit that wall, not if, when you hit that wall, at least it gives you the motivation to continue on. But with the life experiences and the side hustles, how does that come into play?
Well, I got a way around that, about that wall that you're talking about.
Okay, hit me.
So that the wall is like a paper thin wall.
I'm going to bust through it.
Yeah. So the way I look at this, Tracy, is I promote making your hobbies and family interests tax deductible. See, because most families don't think in these terms. They go play golf. They feel guilty about it. It takes all day, and they spend a fortune on greens fees and clubs, or they play soccer, or they go camping, or whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's kids playing soccer. All of those things, they just pay through the nose with money that's not giving them any kind of tax credit. So I've been teaching for years. And by the way, I'm not an attorney or an accountant, but I've had hundreds of them in my audiences. And I always make them say, is that legit? They say, oh yeah, that's the way it is in business. So I tell them, create an inexpensive website, WordPress you can have a world-class website for $150.
Yeah. And
if you need help with it, you go down to the local preschool and wake a kid up from his nap and they'll help you.
Exactly right.
And then you can either create a product around your hobby, or you can get an affiliate relationship, which means somebody else has created a product and you promote it on your website and you get a commission when somebody buys it. Right there is the definition of business.
There it is.
So now the time you spend dealing with that particular thing, like you said, do your passion. Well, no, you love that hobby that you were going to pay for anyway.
Nice.
See, that's why the wall isn't there anymore. You were going to do this anyway. So why not get credit for it when maybe even start making a lot of money on it and then do more of the stuff you love? See, so that's the way I look at that. There's no wall there. That's that's
totally,
just like down the southern border. There's holes all over.
There's all over the place. And if the wall is there, it's like toilet paper now, right?
Exactly.
Just a little water on it.
Yeah. I'm going there to get my tax deduction and play golf more often because now I don't feel guilty.
That, it's funny. That is such a simple idea. It's such a simple concept that I think everyone's just looking right past it. Like,
well, yeah, but they're scared to death. Everybody's scared to death of the IRS. What if I mess up? No, you're not going to mess up, and they're too busy to mess with you. They're going to go after, send the auditor after somebody that's making $50 million a year.
Yeah, right.
Rather, they're going to come and get $2 off of you. No, it's possible you could get audited, but the chances are slim. And you're not cheating anyway. You're doing, they wouldn't get anything anyway.
Yeah, you're doing the right. And I think there's a difference between not paying your taxes and not paying enough of your taxes, right? It's like if you're paying your taxes and oops, I'm sorry, I owe you another $2. I'll get it to you. Versus those folks that we've all heard the stories about. We were like, yeah, I didn't pay any taxes, and they're like 50 grand in the hole.
Yeah. I'm not talking the cheating in any way. These are tax laws that are on the books for business, and you take advantage of them. I have been living that my entire life, since college. Yeah.
So I have to go back and loop back because you mentioned it in your story there that you had a hotel and 3 apartments. Is that what you mentioned?
It was four apartment buildings. I said 5 earlier, but it was really 4 apartment buildings and a hotel. Yeah.
Okay. So how did that happen?
Okay. So I'm sitting in Sunnyside, Morgantown, West Virginia. That was a little part of town and where I went to college. And I'm reading this book by William Nickerson. It was on how you turn $1,000 into $1 million in real estate, long before no money down stuff was out there. And I'm reading this and I'm thinking, why couldn't I do that? And my brothers are telling me, what's wrong with you? You can't do that. And I'm thinking, I don't even have a couch to repossess. What have I got to lose? There's no, is there? So I found an attorney that owned a 3-plex, and this they rented per person by the time in this college town. There's 20,000 students there. There's not enough student housing, so all these little homes were converted into triplex, quadplexes.
Gotcha.
So this guy owned it, old attorney, didn't want the money because he'd have to pay capital gains if I somehow could pay it off, but I couldn't have done that.
Right.
So I said, hey, I'll take it over and I'll make you the payments and you hold the mortgage because he owned it free and clear.
Sure.
And so and he can always take it back if I messed up. So he was happy because he didn't have to pay capital gains tax, though he's probably dead by the time he had to pay it.
Right.
So that's how I started. And then my dad had taught me. My dad, like I said, was very frugal, came from Syria on a cattle boat in the early 1900s. My whole childhood was he'd get some used lumber and me and my brothers would have to take the nails out and straighten them out to reuse them. All right. Okay. That's the kind of guy he was. And to this day, I can't brush my teeth and let the water run. I hear my dad, you're wasting water. You don't waste things where that kind of stuff. So I'm very frugal. I'm not a cheapskate, but I mean, I don't waste things.
Sure.
And so I bought a $10 circular saw from Kmart. They were taking the old wooden oak seats out of Mountaineer Field and just throwing them away. Well, my whole life, I'm thinking that's like a gold mine in there. Right? Oak, full size 2x6s.
Yeah.
And so I said, can I have these? They said, yeah, we're just going to throw them to the landfill. Give them to me. I hauled them up. I ripped them down the middle and made 2x4s out of them. I remodeled the attic to get 2 more kids living in there at $125 a month each. So I got the income up 250 extra bucks. And so I was making the payment easily to the guy plus an extra 250. And then I found another guy that had a 4-plex and did the same thing. And then I found another one. And then I was charging more for rent than I was paying for my landlord. So I rented. But the whole thing, when he would come over to work on the house, I'd say, hey, Frank, you're putting those gutters up. I'll help you do it, but you teach me what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. So I was a constant learner from my dad.
Right.
And so at the end of the semester, he comes over and says, hey, Tom, I want to talk to you. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, what do we do?
Right.
And he says, I've been renting apartments in this town for 25 years to thousands of students. He said, not once ever did one of them offer to help me, let alone want to learn something.
Sure.
He says, I want to retire and go to Florida. I own a hotel about 20 minutes from here in Fairmont, West Virginia. I want you to have it. Because he knew I had these apartments. And so he said, look, if you can come up with the first mortgage, I'll hold back the second mortgage and you'll in effect get a no money down deal. So there's a couple lessons here. Give before you get. I was helping him for nothing just to learn.
Right.
And then persistence is the other key to the success, because it took me 50 lending institutions that they were shooing me away like, oh, yeah, okay, you got a couple apartments, but you're a little punk kid. Get out of here. Because I needed a bunch of money for this hotel.
Right.
So it took me 50 lending institutions. One of them went for the first mortgage. He held back the second. There was a manager at the place. I went down once a week to make minor repairs. I made $65,000 a year while I was in college just from that, with 1 day a week. And then the city ended up buying it out to make a parking lot for hundreds of thousands later.
Oh my gosh.
And it all came from give before you get, just from me saying, I'll help you with the gutters. I'll help you with the screen door. Just teach me what you're doing.
Nice. And I think that's an awesome lesson right there, is obviously the give before you get, but the constant learning. Right. Yes. Because the two combined really feathered together to, start an amazing path for you.
It's a Japanese concept called Kaizen.
Yeah.
Continuous learning.
Yes.
And continuous improvement, I believe the translation is, but it's the same thing to me. And improvement and learning are the same thing.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that's going to keep us young, is that continuous learning keeps them brain cells firing in all 9 yards. Mm-hmm. So over the course of both of our lives, we've seen all kinds of media, right? Newspapers to, radio. And now with the advent of social media really kind of taking the place of almost all of those, what kind of things would you have, tips, hints for the folks that are out there, grinding away, and how can they use social media to their advantage?
Okay. So my attitude on social media is that it's a necessary evil to get the people off there onto an email list that's under your control. To this day, people at my level, the big money is still email. I don't care what's going on, what you see out there on social media, the players are using email to make the money. All right. They're sucking people off of the social media. Like if you look at my social media presence, there's nothing to write home about. But my bank account is, and my email list is 100,000 subscribers. It's been as high as 150,000 subscribers.
Nice.
See, so that's the way I use it, is to get them off of there, because you can suck a lot of time down with this stuff, and you got to learn to use the tools.
Sure.
They change constantly. One of the tips is you can, and I'm actually doing this right now, is that Instagram never was a big deal for me. So I decided, okay, I'm going to concentrate on Instagram. And I started taking some advanced training. But one of the things on all the social medias, if they roll out a new feature, if you jump on that new feature right away, they reward you greatly. I remember when Facebook Live came out, I said, that's perfect for me. I did a Sunday night show every Sunday. It was funny and it was good. So all my other stuff they would show my stuff to more people. In other words, you have 1,000 followers, 2 people see it unless you get engagement and jump through all the hoops. So once I started doing the Facebook Lives, when it was a new feature, they're really pushing it. So they reward you if you use it. The same thing is going on right now in Instagram, because they rolled out Reels, Reels. Which is to compete with TikTok. They don't want people going to TikTok. They want people staying on Instagram. So I jumped on Reels. The first one I put up there got 4,000 views in the first hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was it's not a real business builder, but all my other stuff got shown more because I was using that feature, because all my Reels are funny stuff. I'm doing the challenges, the Michael Jackson challenge, and I'm talking about one of them. I said, I found something in my closet. I'm so proud of myself that it was from college and I can still fit in it. And then I put a hat on. So they're like 15 seconds. They're very short things.
Nice.
So perfect. I can do lots of those, but all the other stuff. So that's one tip, is if a new feature rolls out, jump on it, and it'll help the rest of your social media stuff. But you got to concentrate on getting them off of there, because as soon as Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey turns a little dial, you can disappear off the face of the earth. But if you get them on your email list, now you got some control over.
You're now listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Yeah, that's fire right there. And I think that's a great point about the new features. I know when Facebook Live came out, I started jumping on the Facebook Lives, and I was probably a little bit behind, maybe about a month or 2 behind, but certainly saw a huge lift in the engagement. It was like it was getting lots of shows. And I know I think it's Instagram is coming out with something to compete with Clubhouse. And I know Clubhouse has been all the rage here lately. For me, I think Clubhouse is a cool concept. I think it's great for that human connection that a lot of the social media tends not to have, because you have to be there live. But at the same time, it's a time suck. Because
again, just like the wall. Okay. If you learn how to play the game a little bit, it doesn't have to be as time. So, and in the beginning, I was thinking I'm going to have to get bladder surgery here because I'm sitting there for 4 hours, but the reason I like it is because it's audio only, and it can be sitting here running while I'm working. Sure. I don't have to stop and watch a webinar. And if there's something that I can jump in on, then I can easily just jump in on, and just something, just I just edited it before I started talking to you, a podcast with Nadia Holiday's her name. And so she's a part of this Wealth Builders giant thing on Clubhouse. And I'm just hanging out there one day and I thought, I can answer that. That ain't even right what they're telling them. And so I raise my hand, I get on there, and then they won't let me go. They make me a moderator and they, and then she says, we got to do something with you next week. So next week she advertises me to their 5,000 members, and I get hundreds of new followers and everything from, and I'm not even working it that hard. Some people are on there day and night. I don't know how they do it.
Well, that's a great point though. That's a good angle. I'm going to have to check myself on that you can multitask. Absolutely.
Just let it run on your side. Keep your cell phone plugged in because it's suck the battery.
Suck the battery right out of it, right?
Yeah, so I learned how to deal with these, but I don't get fanatic about any of them, because I remember MySpace. Nobody here listening this does.
I do. I remember it.
Yeah, that was the greatest thing ever, And then after that, I didn't get on Facebook until it had 1 billion users. I said, I'm not going to waste time unless they prove themselves to me.
Absolutely right. No, that's a good point. So far we have the jump on the new features right away.
Yep.
Clearly, I think with the advent of Clubhouse, it might even be worthwhile to jump on the new platforms and see, how you can leverage it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And
because you get in there, they're going to show you some love.
But don't waste a lot of time on it. And then another thing with regard to the social media, you might want to learn how to use chat bots. Because one of the things I'm known for is I'm lightning fast on things to get back to prospects and things, and so I'm going to give away to your folks, if it's okay with you, an automation book that I has saved me millions of keystrokes and allows me to basically ethically steal business from people because they don't get back to people fast enough, and so I have all these automation techniques that are cheap and free that you can use so that you can get your work done faster or reach more people with the same amount of time. So either way. So chatbots, a study came out last year that said that 85% of customer service is by chatbot. And so people want things now. And so, and it's $10 a month for ManyChat. And there's other ones that are free. They even have a free version that you can install on your Facebook page. And then when when they look at to message you, it says responds instantly rather than responds, I don't know, next leap year.
Yes. Every 17 years.
Yeah, right. When the locusts come, they'll get back. So chatbots is worthwhile to take the time to learn because it's dirt cheap and it makes you, 24/7. It's working for you, answering questions. You can set it up where, so what do you want? Do you want Tom's internet marketing training? Do you want public speaking training or something else? Or entrepreneurship? Do you want to be on his podcast? Click here. And then if they say other, then it keeps going and gives them other things. And if it can't answer it, then it sends me a note and says, hey, we'll have Tom get in touch with you because, my little chat bot is called Screwy, because he's a little screw character because you're not trying to pretend it's real.
Right.
And it's fun. So I think that would be something worthwhile to jump on because it's working 24/7 for you. It costs almost nothing, and it's people are using them like crazy.
That's fire. Actually, I'm a big fan of chatbots, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Outstanding. Okay, so I have to ask, across your, many, many years in business, what's some of the biggest struggles you've had to overcome?
Let's see. I've had lots of employees over the years, and I was having trouble for a while recruiting the right kinds of people. Okay. And so I have kind of a off the wall method that I think will help your listeners to recruit the right people. And I'll caveat that with if they have the stomach to do it.
All right.
All right. So everybody that works here or is now a contractor, I encourage them to start their own business so they can get tax deductions and saves me payroll taxes. So people that work here, some work as an employee, some are contractors, but everyone came off of Craigslist. And
Really?
the reason is I couldn't get away with the advertisement that I put out anywhere else. I would get kicked off and I'd get shunned and they'd be picketing out in front of my cul-de-sac. So I write, first of all, I don't want the 55-year-old MBA to apply because they are clueless when it comes to what I do.
Sure.
They can't operate their computer savvy, so they can't help me when I need a young person to figure something out. So I don't really want them. So that was a challenge. I'd have to take if they apply, I got to take them and talk to them and sitting there knowing that I'm wasting both of our time.
Right.
So I started putting the ad that says paid internship. Write that down, folks. Paid internship. No 55-year-old MBA is going to apply for an internship.
Nope.
So they don't even apply. So all I get is young people. So which is what I wanted in the first place.
Right.
So that's the first thing. Then when you get in, when you get inside the ad, it says, hey, I tell them the good stuff. So you're going to work for a internationally known big shot guy, all the stuff, you'll learn all this great internet stuff. But then it says, this is the part that gets you kicked out. Then it says, but if you're a worthless slug and don't care about your work, if he doesn't throw you out of here in 5 minutes, the other good employees will.
Nice.
So all the BS idiots are too afraid to show up. So I only get people that says, I'll show this guy. I'm a good quality person. I've had people here 15 years now that came from that ad.
That is fire.
All of them have been multi-year people. So
that is, I could see why LinkedIn wouldn't let you post that. That makes sense.
I'm not a mean guy. I treat them like gold, but I mean, I have to recruit the right people. And so, but you can't do it anywhere else.
And you probably get folks with a pretty good sense of humor given that kind of an ad.
After they meet me, they say, they see I'm not there. They're scared when they come in, but after I put a fart machine with a remote control under their chair when they sit down, all of a sudden they know.
Have you? Okay, so you went there. You went to farts. I got to go with this. Have you seen those air bazookas?
No. What's that?
It's like a big. When we're done here, go to Amazon and search air bazooka, and it's like a big, maybe 8-inch diameter tube, right? And it'll have a piece of plastic in the center, like cellophane, and a almost kind of slingshot.
Yeah, slingshot kind of thing.
Okay, so you pull it back and let it go, and it pushes a quote unquote ball of air across the room, and it really works. So I saw this, and the reason that it's even funny is because the first time I saw this toy was these two college-age kids. One was with the air bazooka, and he puts it by his bum. He farts, pulls it back, and fires it across the room. And all of a sudden, his friend, who was totally oblivious, like playing video games, starts going, "Oh my God!"
That'd be a good reel right there.
That would be a good reel, wouldn't it? Okay, everybody, there you go. You've got your advertisement for the week.
There you go.
You've got your advertisement for a good employee, and then something you can do to fire them up. There you go. That's awesome. All right, so I have to ask, you've got some really creative ideas. So this question is gonna fit right in for you. Give me a good marketing tip for any one of our dark horses that are looking to restart, or kickstart their game.
So they're starting a business, or they need to improve a business. Which
let's start with this. They're starting.
Okay, this will surprise you, I think, Tracy.
Okay.
When people come to me and need to make money pretty quick and they got nothing else going, and I start them on eBay. And I got to tell you about eBay. First of all, I told you I was frugal. So I shop on eBay. I shop on the Facebook marketplace and OfferUp and those kinds of places. So, but there's a lot of money to be made on eBay because people are coming there to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a website. You can actually have money coming in tomorrow and clean your basement out at the same time.
Right.
All right. All right. But let me tell you a couple of things about the personal things that happened to me with eBay. So I bought this tool from a guy who happened to be local.
Mm-hmm.
So I go over to his house, beautiful house. He's got a $500,000 motorhome out front. He comes to the door dressed nicely, invites me in to go down. He's got a shop in his basement to look at this tool I'm going to buy.
Okay.
So I go in, walk down the hall. We go downstairs and we're heading towards his shop. And Tracy, everything to this point was normal.
Here it comes, everybody.
So I'm going down and look into his shop, but I look over in his basement. There are hundreds of ladies' bras hanging from the ceiling of his basement. So immediately I'm thinking, oh man, he lures people in, kills them, and hangs their underwear. So I'm like, I'm ready. I'm like on edge. And he goes back, shows me the tool. I buy the tool. We're talking about our dads. Everything's normal. So on the way out, I say, I got to ask you, what's all these bras hanging up
Thank
here?
you. Yeah. You had to ask.
And he said, oh, my daughter goes to all the thrift stores. They all know her. She knows all the sizes that are hard to get, and she gets them, cleans them up, fixes them up, sells them on eBay.
Oh.
$200,000 a year she makes selling used bras on eBay.
Shut up.
Yeah. And he told me she found a whole bunch of more thrift stores. She thinks she can push it to 400,000. So this is serious stuff. People are coming there to buy stuff. Another lady that I know is a single mom. She would take 80 to $100 every Saturday and go to yard sales.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the thing about eBay, if you look closely, the eBay has a search bar, but next to the search bar is a little link that says advanced search.
Okay.
If you go in there and click this box, it's completed listings only. So it'll tell you in the past 90 days what you were looking for, how much it sold for, and all these different auctions.
Okay.
So she'd go to a yard sale, and let's say she would see one of those metal, nice Tonka trucks, okay, dump trucks or something, and it's selling for $5. She'd go on her thing and say, it's selling for 50 or 35 on eBay. So she'd buy it. And if it was selling at the yard sale for 30 and selling for 5 on eBay, she wouldn't. So she's always ahead of the game. So she'd come home, put the auctions up. She was clearing $1,000 to $1,100 a week to take care of her family, single mom. So this is, and the guy that taught me was an ex-Marine. I forgot about that. If you can get people locally that will agree to come over and teach you how to do eBay, because it's a little bit complicated for the fancy stuff. So he comes over and wants to prove that he knows what he's doing for me to hire him. He brings over a stack of orders that big, $20,000 in the previous month he had sold on eBay. I said, well, I guess you know what you're doing.
I guess so.
He was selling used cell phones and doll heads. Used cell phones and doll heads. So I said, how do you get into this? He said, well, I went to all the pawn shops and I asked them what they had trouble getting rid of. He said, oh man, cell phones. We can't keep track of what service it's on and what charger goes with it. Mm-hmm. He says, I'll give you $10 for each one. They said, sold. He'd sell it, fix them up, figure out which was what, and sell them for $110 each. Wow. Make $100 each. And he had a whole box of them in the back of his car. So I saw that. The doll heads, I said, what's up with the doll heads? He said, oh man, people make dolls. And he says, for each doll head, it costs me 10 cents worth of rubber. And I have a mold that'll make 4 at a time. So I got 40 cents in rubber and I make $40 on each 4 doll heads. And he says people buy them between 4 and 10 at a time.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's all eBay. So yeah, if you need to make money fast, eBay is, people are coming there to spend money. And if you play your cards right, you can make a full-time living at it if you wanted to, but it's fast.
It's funny you mentioned that. A previous guest I had on here, Christina, she started off in the game up in the Northeast on eBay, and she would go out to, like you were saying, to garage sales, and she started going to estate sales and finding those quirky items, those ones you're looking at like, what is that, right? And then she would scoop them up and then go or turn around and sell them on eBay. And then when eBay got super popular, it got more difficult for her. So she turned around and started her own auction house.
Oh, that's wild.
And she started doing that so well that this gentleman from Ireland come over and said, hey, I have all these amazing things that I've been finding overseas. I'd like to bring them over here to you and let you sell them here in the States. Beautiful. And, they struck that deal up and things were going great there. But yeah, that's fire right there.
Yeah, this one kid that works for me is doing it on the side, and he got a 50-cent ashtray, sold it for $100. It was some rare thing, and he found 50 cents and he spent it for $100.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's cool. Right on. Yeah. All right. I want to be mindful of your time. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. You mentioned earlier you had that cool, I think it was the automation book you wanted to.
Yeah. I definitely want to give that to everybody. This is a book that, I really figured out, and I was complaining one day. This is 1997. I'm complaining to this kid that worked for me. His name is Ilya. I want to tell you about him too. Okay. And he's a little smart aleck Russian. He says, I complain about something. He says, shut up. And then he goes and finds how to fix it real quick. So I'm complaining that I have to type the same stuff all the time. People asking me the same questions all the time. So he says, all right, shut up. And he comes in 5 minutes. He's got this thing called short keys. And I just put in the answers like that I get all the time into this, and then I can just hit 2 keys and it types the whole answer in for me.
Nice.
So it saved me 7.5 million keystrokes, as we kind of estimated. And that's just one of the tips in this whole book. And there's cell phone automation tips and all kinds of stuff in there. So if they go to screwthecommute.com/automate free, screwthecommute.com/automate free, they can download it right there. We sell it for $27, but if it wasn't for Tracy, you'd be paying $27 for this now. So give them some love.
Excellent. I'm noting this down so I don't miss that. All right. And I want to obviously give you a chance, plug all your goodness. If folks wanted to reach out to Tom and learn more about Screw the Commute podcast, your school, or anything else, where should we send them to?
Well, yeah. So Screw the Commute's a good place to go, and you can go to the resource section. But I am pushing Instagram a lot lately, Antion and Associates, AND Associates. And the link in the bio takes you to a whole bunch of stuff that you can see. There's freebies there. My mentor program is the big thing that people get into for the year program, and they stay in the retreat center for an immersion weekend, and it's a year-long training program, and it gets a scholarship to the school. Also, if you're in the mentor program, you get a scholarship that you can gift to somebody. Somebody gifted it to his daughter, and he had spent $80,000 on her education, crappy education, and she's working a crappy job. He gifted it to her, and within 4 months, she was up to $6,000 a month making a side hustle before she even graduated from the school.
Wow!
So it's really a great legacy gift that anybody could give for grandchildren or nephews or nieces. A lot of grandparents, I'll give them a car. Well, the car's shot in a couple of years. This way, you're giving them a career.
Yeah.
And they're not going to come home and live in your basement. So,
and they can buy their own car.
Yeah, the school is a good thing. And then everything we do is commissionable. So we give for referrals. We give commissions for referrals. So it's just a lot of opportunity online. If you just check Instagram or go to Screw the Commute, and you can find me there.
All right. And I believe I have all your links here, so I'll be sure to get those in the show notes.
Thank you.
So the folks can just click right over there and connect with you, Tom. Any final amazing thoughts? And I know you're the man of humor, so this is going to be a good one that you'd like to leave.
Well, yes, I use a lot of humor, but I'm serious about helping people. And so I really want people to consider, look around them, what's happened to their friends and neighbors and fathers and mothers with this pandemic because they couldn't sell from home. I haven't been affected at all. My students haven't been affected at all because we're able to sell from home. So if you keep your costs low, and with digital products now, it's 97% profit. Yeah. So you can mess up pretty bad and still make it. And so I'd say, get into the digital marketing arena, get somebody to help you. I'll help you, or just get somebody credible to teach you this stuff. And you will not be freaking out on any kind of thing that happens to you or your family. I call it like an insurance policy, because I got hurt in a hunting accident a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. It would have been such a great story had I gotten shot. But no, I just fell on a log and perforated my intestines. I'm in intensive care. And I mean, the worst part about it, Tracy, was they're dragging me out of the woods, 13 inches of snow, blizzard. I'm screaming like a baby. And I swear I could hear some deer laughing as they dragged me out of the thing. So, but I'm in intensive care. Money's still coming into my checking account. You know, someday if I come back, I'll tell you how you couldn't stop the money coming into your checking account if you tried with residual affiliate programs. That's another kind of way to get money coming in passively. So thanks so much for.
No, we'll definitely have you back so you can share. You've got so much experience and goodness to share.
Yeah, I'm not even warmed up yet, man.
Thanks so much for your time, Tom. I definitely appreciate you.
Good talking to you, Tracy.
All right, there you have it, my Dark Horse friends and family. Tom Antion dropping a quarter century worth of business value bombs on us in like 40 minutes. Here's some thoughts I came away with. Thought number 1, give before you get, right? Hence the title of this episode. Tom shared his amazing story of how he was able to acquire those 4 apartment buildings and that hotel by giving long before he got or even expected to get. So he was giving on a daily basis by handling all the day-to-day details from the lawyer that he convinced to go into the deal with him. Then he continued giving. Remember, as he acquired that oak from that reconstruction of the local field, he took that, split it down, turned it into 2x4s, and remodeled the attic of one of the apartment buildings to get 2 more student residents into the building, right? Raising the rents. And then he repeated that process with another person with their 4-plex, and then another. And then every time his landlord would come over to do repairs in the place that he rented, Tom would help, always offering to help. But he always was learning, right? He was learning the repairs in the process. As a result of showing this desire to continue to help and to continue to learn, as well as the initiative to do the work, his landlord offered him a hotel at basically, remember, a no money down deal. Why? Because he consistently gave before expecting to get. And of course, doing this persistently. Now, I want to share some more thoughts of this giving first in tomorrow's live episode 188. Do something valuable and then give it away. Thought number 2, and Tom checked me on this one. Make the wall of resistance paper thin. Tom gave a great piece of advice here. Take the topic or hobby of your passion for yourself, for your family, and turn that into your side hustle and turn that into a business and claim the tax rewards. You know, those tax credits and those reductions that come with doing the things you love as part of your business. He gave a quick step-by-step walkthrough on how you can do that. And in episode 189, turning your hobby into a legitimate business, I want to take you back through that and give you some more examples that you might want to consider, or perhaps they'll just jog your memory or spark your creative juices into thinking, well, damn, I should do that. How cool would it be to do the stuff that you love, save money, and better yet, earn money while doing it? Yeah. It's just that simple perspective or mindset shift. Remember, we talked about perspective and mindset shifts just last week. If not, be sure you go back and check out last week's episodes. Thought number 3, build an email list. Tom made an awesome point about social media and taking them off the social media and moving them into email. The big players out there are still consistently making money via their email list. You don't believe me? check your email box, right? How many emails are you getting from people you've already done business with? How many of them are pitching you their, let's say, next level product? Maybe you bought their $47 product. Now they're pitching you their $197 product. Maybe you bought their $2,000 product. Now they're pitching you their $5,000 product, right? Or maybe they're pitching that product of a peer. Yeah. Now think about that. If all those emails are coming in, here's the question. If that was not working, do you think they'd keep doing it? Yeah, hell no. They would scrap it for something that was working. So in Thursday's episode 190, email, the one ring to rule them all, I'm going to share some thoughts on email and a few unique tips you might not have heard yet. And thought number 4, and I thought this was a real gem, jump on the new features in social media. Tom dropped this huge entrepreneurial gem, as I just mentioned, and I wanted to make sure that everyone noticed it. When a platform that you're on launches a new feature, use it. Why? Because when you use it, the platform will reward you by showing that content in that new feature to far more people than you'll normally get to reach. They do this in order to show more people something like, oh, see, your friend is using this new feature. You should too. So why not utilize that simple tactic to get your message and your product and your content out there to a broader set than you usually would? And I'm going to share some more on this in episode 191 on Friday, social media trends you should watch. All right, my Dark Horse friends and family, what inspiring ideas, tips, or thoughts resonated from Tom to you today? Whatever they were, take some time today and put them into action. Yeah, write them down and then get out there and taking action. Get out there, run your race, get your results, and let me hear about them. I'm deadly serious about this. Email me, Tracy@darkhorseschooling.com, and share the tips or ideas that you came away with, how you put them into action, and what results you gained from them. Heck, I think I'll even bring you on the show so that you can share it with the audience. All right, next week, we are going to be honored by the presence of Lois Coffey. Now, she's a professional speaker, trainer, coach, and Ironman triathlete, and she has coached thousands of people in business. Now, last year, like so many others, right, she had to pivot because of COVID, and she has gone from not having an email list, not having a podcast, not even having an online tribe. Nope. She went from absolute zero online to 5 figures a month in less than 6 months. You're going to want to hear this story. Now, I know you want to keep getting all these valuable tips and inspirational stories from this podcast and all the awesome guests I'm lucky enough to bring on to it. So please go on down there, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, drop us a 5-star rating, drop us some kind words in the review. Just takes a couple of seconds. And of course, do not keep all this entrepreneurial GOLD all to yourself. Share this podcast with other entrepreneurs and business owners you feel will get value from it. And with that, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
And you know this!
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.